Watching Ironheart is dope to see where Riri and the Hood both align with their comic counterpart and disalign with them. Yeah, you guessed it. Spoilers about to happen right now. Yo, I'm gonna tell you like Aman Vellani told Kevin Feige, MCU is not Marvel 616. And that's okay because it's almost like these two different realities and we're seeing this MCU as a modernization of these comic book characters. What's dope is we see a Riri Williams that's slightly older than her comic book counterpart, but we see moments where the MCU Riri and the Marvel 616 Riri are in alignment. They're both driven, determined, and have like a tunnel vision toward the work that they're doing. What I like about the parts where they differ and the disalignment is that there's a callback to Riri Williams' origin in the comic books. A scene where she tells a teacher that she wants to grow up to be a scientist, and the teacher's telling her, yeah, okay, that sounds great. But in Riri's head, she's like, well, no, you're not supposed to say that. You're supposed to say, I can't do that. And the teacher's like, why would I say that to you? And Riri points to this, the first black female astronaut and how people said that she couldn't do that. And the teacher's like, yeah, that was a different point in time. Now that doesn't, that you can be what you want to be now. And the whole thing was basically Riri being like, I'm gonna be honest, I wanted you to like say I couldn't so that I'd have motivation. And the teacher's like, well, I'm not gonna do that to you. And we see her just stare at the teacher, and the teacher's like, all right, fine, you'll never be the next Tony Stark. And that's what sets her off on her path. Because by this time, she's then labeled already not even just a genius, she's a super genius. However, that is, the lens in which that was written is, in the MCU version, it feels like a dope callback to that because Riri's in, talking with the board of her college and basically telling them like, yo man, y'all want me to be small and I can't be that because I got these big dreams, I got shit I gotta do and I gotta go these routes to achieve it. I love this scene because the counselor tells her, Riri, that's straight up bullshit, yo. Who told you to be small? What teacher? Name the teacher that told you that. Exactly. No one. That is dope because she's being called on an excuse. And it's a dope balance of, okay, we understand that you're smarter than everybody. Cool. However, there are times where you got to work within these lines. And what you're doing is crossing these lines and looking at the leeway you've been given and when you take too much leeway. But I mean, can you blame Riri? Your girl was just in Wakanda, built a whole super tech suit, and now she's back at square one like it's a roguelike? She's trying to get back onto this level because she got a glimpse of this bigger dream she has and had the means to do it, but now she ain't got those means. However, it's like the administration here is telling her, yo, I understand you got this big picture of things and things you want to do, but however, there are times where you got to work within the lines. And it feels like this is a lesson on restraint that she's going to be learning throughout the series. Now, a great character assessment has been the Hood in the MCU version and the difference in the Marvel 616 version. I was hoping we'd see Parker Robbins become the Hood along with Riri Williams becoming Ironheart. However, he's established here already a little bit, and that's fine because it's still the beginning of his career, it looks like. Being a longtime Hood fan, it's so noticeable to see him align with his comic book counterpart. I saw folks complaining that he's not menacing and vicious, but Parker Robbins, when he first started out, wasn't really like that. He was always a cool, calm, collected criminal. The biggest difference that we've seen so far is that he's not a big scumbag like he is in the comic book and a liar, but we saw the guns come out and it shows the force he's willing to use. But even in doing so, he only injured the security guard that was holding up Riri, which is like Parker in the comic books because when he first took a life, it was by accident. It's not something he wanted to make a habit of. And even later on in his career, when he does take a life, he has his reasons behind why. I love seeing his calm demeanor portrayed by Anthony Ramos. And when the Hood's talking about like, yo, I care about everybody in this room, I care about y'all, like that is like Parker Robbins. In the comic books, in his personal life, Parker Robbins is a scumbag and a liar. However, in his criminal life, he's someone that keeps his word. He runs a tight ship, but he respects everybody he's with. And we're seeing how the Hood is changing him into someone in something darker. When my man was doing hot yoga and John walked in on him, I was laughing because I'm like, yeah, Parker Robbins ain't do that, but that's dope. These are the liberties taken with the characters. And for what he's dealing with, it makes sense. Which is why we see him being so calm. Because that's a way of calming down this presence that's trying to take over him, as we see later on. So I've actually been really enjoying this show. And I think my biggest complaint about the show is that I wish it was episodic. TV Star Child talked about how, like, if this was episodic, like, yo, black folks would be carrying this show. A hashtag for it. It works. They would be showing up to show out for the show. So getting 3 episodes is dope and all, but man, this show is good and I just wish it was just being drawn out a little bit longer.